Today's video is about SI and Imperial Units of Measure. It is brought to you by Help Young Minds, and I'm your host, Herman Aamir. There are two linear systems of measurement in math, the SI system of measurement and the Imperial system of measurement. The SI units involve millimeters, centimeters, meters, and kilometers, whereas the imperial system involves inches, feet, yards, and miles. Okay, so now we are going to do some conversions in between imperial units. You may want to reference the chart on the slide as it illustrates many important relationships between imperial units. Let's start off by doing a problem and see how we reference the chart. Kelly is framing art on the wall. The perimeter of the frame will be 136 inches. What will the perimeter be in feet and inches? So we're going to start off by converting 136 inches into feet. Okay, so step one. And we can see from the table that there are 12 inches per 1 foot. We have 136 inches, and we want to know how many feet, so we can put X amount of feet. Okay, so now we can cross multiply. 12 times X is 12X. 136 times 1 is 136. You can divide by 12 on both sides to isolate X. 12 divided by 12 is 1, so we isolate X. 136 divided by 12 is 11.3 repeating. So we can now say that technically we have 11 whole feet. The problem is that we still have this decimal remaining. We can't make it another foot because 0.3 of a foot is not a foot. So we have to see how many inches are left over as well as the question suggests. Okay, so this would lead us to part 2. Okay, step 2 involves converting the 11 feet into inches. Okay, so again, we can use our proportion from the chart. So there are 12 inches in 1 foot. Okay, we have 11 feet, and we want to know how many inches. So X amount of inches. Okay, same thing, we cross multiply. 1 times X is X equals 12 times 11 is 132. Okay, and that's 132 inches. So now we know that in 11 feet there are 132 inches. Okay, now we can take this to our final step. Okay, our final step would be to take this 136 inches and minus it off from 11 feet. So basically 132 inches. That gives us 4 inches in remainder. Okay, so now we know as a final solution that we have 11 whole feet and 4 inches remaining. So now let's discuss conversions between imperial and SI units. the table below illustrates many important relationships that we can use for our proportions. We will be referencing this table in the next few examples. Okay, so let's try another problem. So a gymnasium is 19 meters wide. What is the measurement to the nearest foot? Okay. So by looking at the chart on the previous slide, we can see that there is 3 1/4 of a foot in 1 meter, right? And we have 19 meters, and we want to know how much 19 meters is in X amount of feet. Okay, so now we can cross multiply. 1 times x is x equals 19 multiplied by 3 1/4. So, okay. So now let's put this into an improper fraction. So denominator times the whole number. So that's 3 times 4. 2 times 4 is 12. And then you add on the numerator. So that's 13. And you keep the denominator. Now we can multiply it nicely. 19. So x equals, when we multiply fractions, we do top times top, bottom times bottom. 19 times 13 is 247. 247. And we 4 times 1 is 4. Now simplify that to become 61.75 feet. But again, when we look at the problem, it says nearest foot. So we can say that we can round this 61.75 to 62 feet. Okay, and that is our final answer. So 19 meters converted to feet is 62 feet. Alright, so let's try the last problem. After having lunch at a diner, Kayla drove 62 miles south to get home, and Fatima drove 90 kilometers north to get home. Whose home is farther from the diner? Okay, so basically, this question basically calls us to compare both the distances, but since the distances are in different units, we cannot compare them directly, so we have to convert either or to get to the same units as the other one in order to compare them. Okay, so there are 2 ways to do this question. We can either convert 90 kilometers to miles, or we can convert 62 miles to kilometers. Okay, I will be going through both of them. Okay, so first let's try converting the 90 kilometers into miles. We can start with our direct relationship and create our proportion. So we know that there are 0.6 miles in 1 kilometer. Okay, we have 90 kilometers. We want to know X amount of miles. Okay, so cross multiply X times 1 is X equaling 0.6 times 98 is 58.8 miles in this case, because that's what we're looking for. Okay, now we can see that 58.8 miles is less than 62 miles. So we can see that Kayla drove farther. Harder to get home since she drove 62 miles, which is bigger than the 58.8 miles. Okay, now let's try to do the same exact question, only converting the 62 miles into kilometers. Okay, so from the chart, we know that there are 1.6 kilometers in 1 mile. Okay, we have 62 miles, and we want to find X amount of kilometers, right? Okay, so cross multiply, X times 1 is X, 62 times 1.6 is 99.2, and this is ultimately 99.2 kilometers. So we can see that our answer from the first part is now confirmed, because 99.2 kilometers is greater than the 98 kilometers, and we know that this was Kayla, whereas this was Fatima. So again, Kayla drove farther to get home, answering our question. We have come to the end of the video. Thank you for watching. Hopefully this video was helpful.